What's up YouTube, welcome back to the channel. In today's video we have the Injora aluminum skid plate here on the desk, ready to be installed on the Axial SCX24 deadbolt build. So here, I flip it over and you can see the plastic skid plate on the stock SCX24. This upgrade simply is an aluminum piece, should add a little bit more weight compared to the plastic piece, and it just kind of looks cool down low on the SCX24. So let's get to disassembling it. With my Wera 1.3 hex, we'll take off the body and then we will get to disassembling everything down here on the skid plate. So the battery and the body are now removed, and the first thing we want to do is come down here on the skid plate, and there's two little screws that attach the skid plate to the motor. We're going to remove both of them, so these two right here. So the next thing we need to do is remove this battery tray, and so it's connected by 4 little screws, 2 on each side, one here, and it's the same on the opposite side. Now we should be able to remove a battery tray just like that. I set that to the side, and now we have access to the one screw we needed to get to on the transmission case, and that is right there. So I'm going to undo this screw. Set that apart, and now we should be able to remove the entire drivetrain, and then we're going to disconnect the battery from the ESC, and there's everything in one piece. And so now we are left with just the stock skid plate right there, and it's connected to all of our links. So now we just need to disconnect our links from the skid plate, and then disconnect the skid plate from the frame. On the frame there are 4 screws. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 right here. 2 in the middle are going to be shorter than the ones on the ends, so we need to undo those next. So now that we removed the 4 screws off of the frame right here, we're going to have to do 4 more on the skid plate that hold in a couple more links. And so there's one right here, and then it's going to be the same thing on the other side. So I have 1 more screw to take out before this whole thing is completely taken apart. And before I do that, I want to look at which way the skid plate is installed on the vehicle so I can put it in this new one the exact same way. So here there's like a little bump, and I want to have that little bump facing that direction, and have these 2 holes line up, so I don't want to have it flipped around or anything like that. Don't want to get it backwards, so definitely keep an eye on how you take it out so you can put it in the exact same way. So there's the last screw, and now I should be able just to pop everything apart. And here is our old skid plate. So now we're going to swap in our new one. Luckily here there's these 2 little bumps on the top of the sides of the skid plates, and so those little holes line up with some holes on the frames, and it makes it a little bit easier to install. Make sure your holes are flush. Bam. Now we can start getting everything back together. So the first thing I want to do is get my short screws that go into the center of the skid plate in first. Those go in right there. Alright, so there is the skid plate installed onto the frame, and now we're going to reinstall the links. And so the longer links in the rear are going to attach at this point right here, while the upper links go up here in the rear, and then the longer links are going to go down here at the centermost part of the skid plate, while the Y link is attached at the upper top part. So that's just something to keep a note when you put everything back together. So there is the skid plate installed on the frame, and so now we are going to reinstall the drivetrain. So it's pretty simple. There's a hole right in here that lines up with the hole right here on the transmission case. So you line those up, tighten it up. And so if those 2 holes do not line up correctly, that means you installed your skid plate incorrectly. You might need to revise that and go over it and make sure it's in the right position. Now that the drivetrain is all connected, now we need to reinstall the battery tray. Alright, and there's the battery tray onto the frame, and now we have 2 more screws on the very bottom that tie into the drivetrain and the skid plate. So there's 2 right there. So we simply grab our screw, wear a hex, and so there is the truck completed with the new Injora aluminum skid plate. And so definitely adds a little bit of weight, looks a little bit more cooler than this plastic piece right here. Overall, I would say it's about a 25-minute little install. There's quite a bit of screws you have to do, got to be organized, and it is a little bit difficult maneuvering all these links, so definitely would recommend if you're a little bit more of a amateur or a pro in this hobby. So thanks guys for watching, thanks for subscribing. I will see you guys on the next video. Peace out. Injora included an L key and all the hardware that you will be using for the swap. I just kept all of the hardware, all the stock hardware, because I didn't see a reason to switch it out right now. I had to match up all the sizes and everything, didn't really feel like doing that, but I will be using this later on in the build when we do the links. So just keep that in mind, keep those handy, and never throw away any extra SCX24 parts, because you never know when you can use them.